welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're quickly going to run through how we load data into Power Pivot. So you're going to see it's really easy to be able to load data into Power Pivot. You can load data from your different databases, you can load it from CSV files, from Excel files, or even from tables that are actually within Excel already. So many different sources that you can use. We're going to go through loading data from an Excel file, so we'll show you how to do that. We'll also show you that we can preview the data. And also, once we've got the data within Power Pivot, you can easily browse that data as well using some filtering capabilities that we've got. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, but let's jump into the tutorial. I will see you there. Welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can load and view the data in our Excel Power Pivot. So in the previous tutorial, we activated our Power Pivot, so you should now see it in your menu options. So when you click on Power Pivot, you'll now have some ribbon options that you can use for Power Pivot. So we're going to start off by using the Manage option. And what's going to happen is it's going to open up a new window with Power Pivot. Okay, so there we can see now that we have Power Pivot open. As I say, it's a separate window. And you're going to see that behind it is actually my Excel. So I can actually easily jump between going from my book one, which is my Excel, to my Power Pivot. If I just go back to the data model, you'll see that it will then open up that window. So basically you can have both of these windows open and just jump between the windows when you're working. Okay, at the moment this looks a bit confusing because we don't have any data at the moment, so we have this big open space below. So the first part that we need to do is to get some data. You'll see that we get our options, get external data. So we're going to be using that. You are going to see that you have options from different databases. So you have your traditional databases. You also have some other services you can use as well. But most of the time, if you're getting data from Excel or you're getting data from CSV files, you're going to be using the from other sources. So we're going to select that. You'll see that this will open up a dialog box and give us quite a number of different options that we can actually get data from. Number of databases at the top here. But as I go further down, you'll see that we do get the text files options. We have text file and the Excel file. For this example, I'm going to be using the Excel file, so I'm going to select that and then click on the next button. This takes me into the next dialog box and it's going to ask me what is the file path. Again, I can use now the browse. Now, one of the main things here is please make sure that you've got use first rows column headers selected. This is going to make sure that the column headers are then used as our field names, which are going to be important when we're using our Power Pivot. So I'm going to select browse and then we're going to select the file that we're going to be using. Okay, so I've browsed to where my data is. I'm going to be using this data file. So we're going to select that, click on the open button. And as I said, just make sure that you got use first rows column headers. You do have some options here if you want to test your connection, but we're going to click on next. And you can see now that it goes through your data and it finds all tables and it finds sheets of data that you can use. In this case, we only have one sheet of data that we can use. So we're going to select that sheet and say we're going to use that sheet of data. Also, what you will notice is that we do have a preview and filter, which can be really useful. So if I click on preview and filter, it'll allow me to actually see the data that is in this table. And what you can also do, which is really useful, is you can decide if there's certain of these fields that you don't want to bring into your data. You can actually select these and then it will not bring that into your data. Now please note, later on, if you decide you do want to use these fields, you can come back to this and you would be able to then reselect them. At the moment though, I'm going to be using all the fields. So we're going to click on OK and we're going to select this data and we're going to press on Finish. Okay, so there we'll see that it successfully now imported all the rows. So even though we can have over 1 million rows in Power Pivot, with this one's quite small, it's around 61,000 rows we're going to be using. So let's just close that. You'll now see that we actually get this populated. So our data is come into a table, and at the bottom, you'll see that our table is actually called data. If we have more than one table, it actually creates more little sheet tabs at the bottom, just like you would get with Excel. So if you've got little Excel sheets, you will see something similar here. It also tells you how many records you've got. So we've got one of the 60,919 there. Now you can see that we've got all of our data here, just like you would see in the Excel table. If you wanted to filter this data, you could come into this and you'll see just like Excel, you can sort this or you can choose specific countries. So if you only wanted to filter for a specific country, and this would show you down here now how many rows you've got of that. You'll also see that there are text filters as well, but they're not quite as comprehensive as Excel. So we didn't get equals and does not equal. We don't get things like begins with or contains. Okay, we're going to clear that filter. Just to show you as well, though, you could also use a numeric filter. And in this case, though, we do get things like greater than, less than, and between. So if you want to filter on those values. Also, if we pick a date field, you'll see that we also get date filters as well. And this is quite comprehensive. You'll see that we get equals, before, after, between, tomorrow, today. So quite a lot of relative date fields. Again, just like you would see in Excel. So to be honest, it's a bit strange that with your text fields that you don't get begins with and contains the normal ones that you would see in Excel. Okay, so once we've got our data, we can now start working with it. And there's many different options we're going to do. So in the next set of tutorials, we're going to be looking at this data. We're going to be working with it. We're going to find out how to actually create different calculations and also be able to present this data. I will see you in those tutorials.